All right, y'all, welcome back to another one. This news is definitely hot, and so is the fury between this family. Take a look, and we'll talk about it in a minute.
I don't know what to make of it. In 31 plus years of this job, this ranks up there with one of the crazier ones I've heard.
And we begin with breaking news out of the west side of Detroit, where 5 family members have been sent to the hospital, all of them with gunshot wounds. Detroit police say there was a fight between family members, and then things escalated into a full-on shootout. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Hillary Goulston.
And I'm Dave Spencer. We are learning more now about the conditions of those multiple victims. Fox 2's Camille Mary joins us live from the scene. Camille, so much to unpack here. Where to start?
Yeah, 2 people, though, are critical condition and 3 in temp serious. But let's talk about what happened. Let's rewind the clock back to yesterday. And that's what led up to all this is a family member died after a long-term illness. She was an elderly woman. And then today, all the family members were together trying to discuss logistics after a passing, what to do as far as funeral arrangements go, where to have the body taken, when all of a sudden chaos broke out. A physical altercation, then a shooting. We know right now, as I said at the top, that 2 brothers in their 50s in critical condition, and then 3 women who are also family members. One of them, the wife of one of the brothers, and then also a niece who is in her 20s, also in the hospital. Now, the Assistant Chief Fitzgerald talks about this way better than I can, so I want you to listen to what he has to say in his own words.
Sounds like it started with the 2 brothers in a physical altercation. Gun falls out of the one brother's waistband. Another brother picks it up, fires a shot. Others return fire to defend that person. And even when the original officers, the responding officers arrived at scene, they were still fighting on the front lawn. One of the family members had a broom, hit another family member with the broom.
Okay, so right now we know that there was also a person who was inside the house. This all happened outside, but who was inside the house, who is suffering from a stroke, who is recovering from that. Police worried that he could have maybe been hit in this, but he's okay. And then also a bullet hit another house. Luckily, no one was hit. Right now, it's kind of a hectic situation because someone walked up. He actually walked up to us first and then to police because he's trying to get to his house back there. He's screaming at police. Police are trying to get him to calm down. He doesn't appear to be related to all of this, but still kind of adding to the stress and the chaos of this scene. But for now, that's what's going on. Of course, we're going to stay on top of this and bring you the latest information as soon as we get it. Reporting live, Camille Mary, Fox 2 News.
Yeah, Camille, whenever you're dealing with these domestic situations, we know emotions can run high. Do we know if the family members who were not injured are cooperating with the investigation at this point?
Well, again, interesting. And also, too, I didn't even tell you where this was. This is in Detroit, Sussex and Linden. Again, I apologize for kind of the chaos. You can probably hear the screaming behind me. But we do know that one of the people arrested, a woman, is also believed to be a family member. But who shot who? One of the people who shot is in the hospital, but police still trying to sort it all out. Just a very chaotic, messy scene. And again, this with this neighbor arguing with police is not helping matters at all.
Yeah,
Dave and Hillary, back to you.
We know this happened a few hours ago, and it's still an ongoing investigation. So we'll check back with you later on. Thank you for that live report.
Camilla looks like she just want to get out of that area. She looks very nervous and sweating and just, trying to really just hurry up with the report. Yeah. Wow. Like I said to you guys before, this one is hot. Now, we've all heard of a lot of situations that happen amongst family members, but when it gets to this point where the bullet starts to fly and, everybody's looking at each other as a not next door neighbor, but a total stranger, enemy, or whatever the case might be, and we're supposed to be so-called quote-unquote family, it's time to go. It's time to make changes, pack the house up, sell that thing, and let's go. Just disconnect yourself and just move on.
It's annoying. It's embarrassing to say the least, and a lot of things you hear now these days is like, are you surprised? You know what I'm saying? It's no surprise, and that's sad to me. Like I said, it's not a surprise. Usually I'm here with a lot of words and all of that stuff, you know me. But for this particular situation, it's just, I'm not even taken back by it. It's embarrassing, to say the least, like I said. But for the most part, it's like, some people, and we all know people like that, whether they're family acquaintances or just strangers. You have some people that just never grow up in life. It is what it is. You're 50 something years old and you're fighting as if you're like still like literally, come on. Are you in high school? I don't even condone fighting in high school. So are you 6 years old? Are you like a child or something like that? You're fighting for your favorite toy. Yes, I understand between families things could get really, really complicated, really heated, but isn't enough for you to like literally have to pull out a gun and shoot at your family members. And then in the essence of it, a stray bullet went to the next door neighbor's house or somewhere within the perimeter.
Right.
And like I said, it's really ridiculous. An innocent life, someone who didn't even have anything to do with it, their life could have been compromised.
Yeah.
And you know, this is supposed to be, yes, this person has passed away, the family member, but still it's supposed to be a celebration of life, considering that, yes, she was terminally ill, but she lived a long life, right? According to the reporter. And it's like I said, it should be a celebration, everybody coming together, trying to figure things out. But a lot of times when money plays a factor, when you can't stand a person, nevertheless, but you have to come together to make certain arrangements and plans, that leads to problems as well, because during the course of time you have a lot of animosity under your hat. So therefore now is the best time to bring out all of the nonsense, which is crazy within itself. And you also have those people who feel entitled, like maybe there was something left and this person felt obligated. And of course, when one person fight, the other person is going to say, don't disrespect such and such because such and such is my people.
Right.
And then before you know it, everybody wants to jump in, and you have a silly melee that started over something so simple that could have been resolved by communication.
Right. A lot of these situations, it does happen in most households. Some are exposed to, you know,
The media.
to media, and some are just not. When it comes down to, like I said, bringing out the bats and, you know, guns and weapons and knives, and it's like, do you really consider that person to be your family member? I could understand. A lot of times when somebody does die in a family, it's supposed to, like you said, it's supposed to bring unity. Not all the time, because to an extent, that person might have had a conversation with a family member, let's say a niece or a grandchild or whatever the case may be, expressing how they felt about everybody else in the family.
Right. So when everybody shows up,
Right.
the animosity comes out. She's like, well, grandma says she
said
didn't
that,
like you
or
anyway
whoever said
because...
it. Right. So we've seen
whatever reason.
Social media has been broadcasting a lot of events like that, news like that, where you would always find that it's a granddaughter or a niece or a nephew or somebody goes up there and advocate for the person who's deceased at the moment. But like I said, it when it gets to that point, that
To me personally, when it gets to that point, it shows a lack of education.
Really?
It shows a lack of,
Really?
just a lack thereof.
Right.
Like you're missing, not only are you missing your screws, but you're just missing so much. You know what I'm saying? You can't communicate effectively to resolve a problem. 50 something years old, people
They're all in
getting
their
shot,
50s. They're
people
all in
in
their
critical,
50s.
well, some, I think, I don't know, a majority maybe. But the thing about it is, right, you have some right now in critical condition. And you have some that's hurt, and some, of course, that's going to be traumatized and scarred mentally from, the situation that took place. And you're saying to yourself, it's supposed to be a funeral for one, not many, right? So
it's a lot of situations, man.
yeah. Us as black people gotta really get it together, because at this juncture, we're looking really stupid in the eyes of a lot of other people.
Yeah.
And these types of stories, you're only seeing one race in the media. And I don't want to hear the nonsense about, oh, that's because they only publicize negative things when it comes to black people.
Right.
Listen.
Even if they do, it's not going to be an all-out brawl. It's not going to be.
Right.
I've never seen one yet where.
Right, and we've lived in different multicultural communities.
Of course.
And it's always the same nonsense. You have the other communities, the other people, they have so much respect for one another. If they're not working together, they're communicating effectively.
Yeah.
So, once again, we got to do better. And that's my take on this situation. That's all I got to say. Nothing more, nothing less.
Well, I mean, long story short, I think we've all know what we have to do moving forward from any negative situation. We've all been given the blessing to have the ability to know what's right and what's wrong, right? If there is something that's so-called in the back of your head and it's in the back of your mind about a family member or something like that, You know, I've watched movies like, for instance, I'll take it way back to the Brady Bunch. You know, where like these other movies where they show what family life and family communication should be like. That's the type of era I grew up on, and that's the mentality that I have, that I project out to, you know, whoever I may end up with, my kids, my wife, and everybody else.
And I know I said I don't have nothing else to say, but I'm sorry. Like, for instance, like he said, taking it back, whatever. But I'm not gonna go that far back. But growing up in Brooklyn, there's a place called Eastern Parkway, for those of you who know.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying, whether or not if you visited New York before or you are a New York resident. There's a place called Eastern Parkway, and on Eastern Parkway, there is a large number of Jewish people, Orthodox Jews, Ashkenazi Jews, you name it. You know what I'm saying? And never, ever, 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 never have I ever seen them arguing, fighting. Instead, you would see a group of them grouped up to go to whatever specialized meeting that they have, religious meeting or whatever, and they all work as a unit.
Right. If there is any fighting, I guarantee they probably go in the door, lock the door, and you'll probably hear some rumbling and noise.
They have a level of respect.
You would never see it broadcast to the media.
They have a level of respect. Once again, now you're sounding like them as far as, oh, you know, they don't bring their stuff to the forefront. It's not even about that. It's a level of respect. It's just certain boundaries. They look at each other as like brothers and sisters, right?
And it grows a unit.
So there's a level where there's boundaries that's not crossed. There's boundaries that's not crossed. And these are the same people,
no matter what,
who own the places where most people live, right? They own the places where most minorities live because they're so damn busy concentrating on how to do better and working together, while black people are just literally pulling away from each other, arguing every second, fighting every moment of the minute. It's obviously, it's an obvious thing to most. Everybody sees it. Everybody knows. The lid is no longer on the pot, if that makes sense. Everybody knows how black people respond to certain situations, how they respond to each other, and it needs to stop. Because as I just used as reference, the Jewish people, they work together, and they own, to be quite frank, most of the properties in the neighborhoods.
I think a lot of,
and they own most of the places that most of us live in.
Like the only ethnicity that I know that have troubles working with each other is pretty much the black community.
Of course, African American community.
I'm not wrong about what I'm saying. I see other people, other unities, like they're able to go to family functions and all this other stuff, and they're able to unite. And
big weddings,
and
you know, name it.
Everything is pretty copacetic, and they just, you know, they go home afterwards like normal people should.
In the African American community, you're supposed to be having a barbecue. Barbecue ends up in a brawl. You're supposed to be having a baby shower. The person who's pregnant gets shot. Like, it's tacky at this point. You know, like I said, I'm done with this conversation. Next case.
All right, yeah. So at some point, we do got to get it together. And until next time, we'll check you on the next video.